Hi guys. One of the things about Raxpack is the crucible in Flaxbeards. A lot of you will know that the process for the crucible is kind of tedious. You have to click, it pours into the mould, you have to open, then close the mould, and then you have to pour again. So the question is, without autonomous activators or other right-clickable things in Raxpack, how on earth do you do it? Well, one of my suggestions was to use the dynamism tablet. Now, something I had found out while using the dynamism tablet is that you can't get it to right-click without an item in its hand. And unfortunately, as you'll see if I take these plates, nothing will interact with the crucible. The mold will open and close, but unfortunately the crucible won't. It will not tip while you're holding something. It has to be a bare hand. So the dynamism tablet is out. So how do you deal with that? There's one option so far that I found in the pack, and that's to use open computers. You'll need an electronics assembler. I'm going to show you the whole process from start to finish, by the way, so that you won't go wrong. You need an electronics assembler. You need to be able to power that, so we're just going to use a creative energy cell for this demonstration. So now it's got its power. Then you're going to need to go back to open computers. You're going to need a computer case, and I'm going to use the lowest tier that I possibly can so that you can do it as early game as possible. You're going to need a screen, a computer case, a keyboard, and you won't need a disk drive, fortunately. That was a mistake I made with my first computer. On a keyboard, you'll want an inventory upgrade, maybe. It depends on how complex you want to get with it, so we'll put in a computer upgrade. Inventory upgrade. I like to put in a capacity card. A card container, sorry, so that we can change cards on the fly. Maybe you want to put a network card in there or something like that. You want the most basic memory, 2 pieces of. The most basic CPU. You want an open OS floppy disk, which can be made by putting a book next to a disk. You want the most basic hard drive. Oh, that's right, sorry. You will need a disk drive after all. You want the lower BIOS in there. I forgot that things changed in 1.4. Need the graphics card, just a basic old graphics card. You want the most basic hard drive. And you will want a disk drive. Disk drive. Cool. We stick the disk drive in the upgrade slot. And then we get an open OS floppy disk. Right? So, here's the thing. Now we make the robot. That was instant because I'm in creative. So that's not going to be instant for you. That will take a certain amount of time. This guy's called Bender. And then we place him down. He's going to completely not function. Right? No boot medium found. So we need to put the boot medium in, and then we can turn him on, because it'll boot from the disk. And then we need to install. And what install does as a native command is it installs whatever's on the floppy disk to your hard drive, as long as it's OpenOS or another operating system. And then we only have one choice of hard drive, so we press 1, and it installs the operating system to your robot. So we'll just wait for that to finish. Cool, all done. Turn it off, take your disk out, turn it back on. And that will ensure that it boots up from the actual hard drive instead this time. Cool. So now we have Bender, and he is a functioning robot. Isn't that sweet? Now we need to write a program to get him to right-click and interact with this whole scenario, okay? So what we need to do is, let's say, edit, right-click. Ooh, not editor, edit. Not edit twice either, right-click. Here we go. Good one, brain. This is our program. Okay, so this is what's going to direct Bender, or whoever your robot happens to be after he's out of the assembler, to use the crucible for you. So the first thing we want to do is that we want to make sure that the robot is able to use the robot API. So in order to do that, require, you simply, if I can type straight, do this. And that will ensure that anything that is using the robot method is requiring the robot API. Okay, so now while true, I'm going to do the most basic thing ever here, while true do. So this means basically that it will continue forever once it gets to this loop. And then we want it to sleep. 1. You'll see why I put these sleeps in here in a second. And then we want it to do robot.use. And that's simply going to tell it to right click. Then, so basically what that does is it will mean that he right clicks this crucible. Okay? Once he starts his program, he'll wait 1 second and then click the crucible. Then we want him to robot dot, where are we? Turn right. Turn right. This obviously makes him turn right. Robot dot forward. This makes him move forward 1 block. And then robot dot turn left. So basically, robot turn right, robot forward, robot turn left. This means he goes like this, like that, and back there. So now he's facing the mold. And then, because he's just used, not robot2, robot dot, because he's just used the crucible, we want him to wait a little bit. So actually we want to do os.sleep, and I find 2 seconds works. Cool. So now we tell him robot.use. So this will mean that he opens the mold. So what he's done is so far is that if you follow my cursor, he's waited at the start of his loop. He uses the crucible, so it starts to tip. He turns right. He moves forward and turns left, so he's facing the mold now. He waits for the crucible to fill in the mold. He then uses the mold to open it to release whatever's in the mold. Then he waits. 1 second, and then he closes the mold. Okay? Now, so that technically, up to this point, he has created 1 of whatever the mold allows. And now we want him to go back to his position. This is the simplest program you can possibly do for this, by the way. It's just a set of base instructions that he's going to repeat over and over again. Robot.turn left. Robot.forward. Robot.turn right. End. So the reason why this os sleep here is because we don't want him to immediately, as soon as after these 3 instructions which take him back to the crucible, we don't want him to immediately use the crucible. We want for him to wait just a second and then keep going. It just makes things a little bit cleaner, and it also means that you've got several positions in here where you can stop the robot, force him to stop, and you'll see what I mean. So we'll save the program, we'll run it, right click, and now Bender should do what he's told. And he's totally not. Why is that? Bender, what are you doing? Attempt to call to index global robot. What did I do? Edit, right click. And this is where you do bug testing. Label equals robot. Oh, this is where I'm a dummy. Make sure that when you name your label, you put the equals after it. Okay, now he should do what he's told. So if I zoom out, he's still not doing it. Syntax error, robot. Edit. There's probably lots of typos in here because I've been doing it so manically. Okay, I'm back. I'm a dummy. It's local, not label. I don't know what's going on with my brain today, but there you go. Local. Robot. Require. Right click. Let's do it. So as you can see, he tips the crucible. He waits for the crucible to finish. He opens it. That pops out and he goes back. And believe it or not, that crucible is actually tipping. And it opens and it closes. And he's just going to keep doing that even once the crucible is completely empty, because of course he's on a while true do loop, which means that he's just going to do it forever until his battery runs out. So how do we pick up all this chunk that keeps falling out? Well, the best way to do that I've found is use a vacuum, if you don't want to have to program him any further than this. So let's just stick a vacuum chest up on there, an Ender IO vacuum chest, and now, oh, have I messed him up? I think I've messed him up. Yes, I did. I right clicked the mold. There we go. So now he should be back to normal. And that should turn to 9. There we go. And he's just going to keep doing that. So now we have an automated crucible with all the output going into the vacuum chest. Isn't that awesome? It wasn't too hard. There's very minimal coding, and because of this video you'll now be able to just basically copy me verbatim. Don't copy me when I did the whole label thing though. That'll go horribly wrong. So yeah. Here you go. That is an automated crucible. You can obviously make this more complex if you get into open computers and do things like turtle.suck, which means that he will pick up the plates into his inventory himself. You can also get him to put the metal into the crucible himself. As you can see, he's just totally mindless zombie doing it because that's what we told him to do. And he'll keep doing that forever. So let's give him some work to do. Unfortunately, this chest will try and grab a lot of what I try and chuck in here, which is why I used Q to do it. There he goes. He's making more plates for us. So that is how you make an automated crucible with the Raxpack. Thank you all for watching. See you later. Bye bye.